Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this week's episode of Monday Motivation. And this week's episode is quite a lot of interest. It's something that affects us all. Some of us show it, some of us don't. So if you want to be motivated, maybe it's just for your morning, maybe it's just for your day or even your week, and we're going into a new month, then join in. And I can see you hopping on already. So my setup is a bit strange today. I've got my studio lights and I look like I've got a halo above my head. So thank you for joining me so early. So if you or anyone you know has ever been touched by fear, which I think is pretty much all of us, then just hit the share button on this video, share it to your timeline, share it to your pages, share it even to your groups, anyone who could do with a bit of a boost to help them with their Monday motivation. So thank you so much for joining. I can see that Ivona is saying, morning everyone. Ian's saying, hey up Jenny, good morning. I want to say, sorry I was a bit late on air. Yes, I'm navigating a lot of things today. So you are there. Hey, it's Diana. Hi, pleased to see you. So good to see you. Morning. I'm looking at you there, but down here, I have got my laptop. And there's a really good reason for it. Because I want to talk this morning about fear. Now, I have to be honest with you, fear is a huge subject. It's not something that I can do full justice to in this time we have together, the next sort of 15, 20 minutes or so. But what I am going to do is going to give you a little springboard to jump on and hop over. Hey, Alan's here as well. He says, good morning, Jenny. Good morning, everyone. So thank you so much for joining in. Just one thing to know, this is your first Monday motivation that you've joined with me. Just know that although you can see me, I can't see you. Okay, so know that if you're in your pajamas having a cup of tea, I can't see you. So fear, let's talk about fear, shall we? And let's talk about why it's a subject passionate and very close to my heart. Well, actually, fear is one of the things that stops people overcoming obstacles or moving forward. Ali says, morning all. So it's one of the things that helps, that I see stops people moving forward, making decisions, etc., etc. So I'm going to talk a little bit to that this morning. Now, have you ever had fear? If you have, I know, put one of those little sad faces on the screen so that I can see. Have you ever gone through something that's been fearful? And more importantly, is there something that you're about to do where you can feel the heebie-jeebies kicking in? Because if we can work with that this morning, this will be a great way to get you over, get you through, get you moving through that thing called fear. So, any of you ever seen or read the book, The Life of Pi? If you have, fear is so important in this book. There's a whole chapter that's dedicated to it. So, here's what it says. I'm actually going to read out a bit of the chapter. I must say a word. Let me hold my screen here so I'm not just looking away. I must say a word about fear. It's life's only true opponent. Only fear can defeat life. It's a clever, treacherous adversary. How well I know. It has no decency, respects no law or convention, and shows no mercy. It goes for your weakest spot, which it seems to find with unerring ease. It begins in your mind, remember that. It begins in your mind always. One moment you're feeling calm, you're feeling self-possessed, happy, then fear, disguised in the garb of a mild-mannered doubt, slips into your mind like a spy. Doubt meets disbelief, and disbelief tries to push it out. But disbelief is a poorly armed foot soldier. Doubt does away with it with little trouble. You become anxious. Reasons come to do battle for you. You are assured. Reason is fully equipped with the latest weapons of technology, but to your amazement, despite superior tactics and a number of undeniable victories, reason is laid low. You feel yourself weakened, wavering. Your anxiety becomes dread. Now, in the story of A Life of Pi, Hey, so I see Ivona's saying hello to everyone. So that's Tasha and Penny. Welcome. Thank you for joining in, especially so early. So here's the thing. In the story of A Life of Pi, the character who wrote the piece about fear actually wrote it because they were stuck on a boat. They were stuck on a boat with a tiger. And here's the thing about fear. You may have heard the analogy of fear, the acronym of fear. Fear, if you write it down on a big piece of paper in capitals, stands for false evidence appearing real. So how does that happen? Normally what happens is that we will find ourselves a point of reference that we're familiar with. But here's the thing. Remember a few minutes back I said think of something, preferably something that you want to do moving forward, and maybe there is something that is scaring you. So Penny says, thank you Ivona for inviting Penny. What book are you reading? That was from A Life of Pi, believe it or not. So a book called A Life of Pi. I'm trying to think of the author. It's a really well-known book that was made into a film, Pi spelt P-I. And the excerpt I read there was all around fear. And they actually just dedicated one chapter to it, one page, one chapter. And I remember reading that. And it's a description of fear where the character in the story is stuck on a boat, just him and a Bengal tiger. And he writes about what he's going through. And this, in all honesty, is no different to any fear that we have. Because if you take the acronym about false evidence appearing real, false evidence, read it years ago, it's a brilliant book, brilliant book. I can't remember which chapter it was. I think it's chapter 12. But just double check if you've still got the book. But here's the thing about fear. When we do fear, and it's another emotion like happiness, like something else, it's something that we choose. When we do fear, we make a decision, subconsciously or otherwise, that that thing is going to get the better of us. Does that make sense? Now, let's rewind a little bit. Think about something that's coming up for you. You might have a bit of fear around it. You might have loads of fear around it, or you might have a little bit of fear around it. So the first thing that I want to say is that if you're fearful about a particular situation, scenario, incident, or something like that, the reason that your body is experiencing fear is it's protecting you. It's giving you a warning. It's saying, you know what, look out, this thing's about to happen and you could get hurt. But what happens next is how we internalise that, what we do with that. So think of a time when you were scared to do something but you did it anyway. So I'm going to share a story. It's something that I know many thousands of people, nearly millions of people have done now, but it's one of those where the mind goes, no, that's not possible. So back in 2012, I attended a Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within. There were 6,500 people in that room in London. And I must have been probably one of the few people on the planet in that room that didn't realise that this whole thing included a fire walk. Yes, walking on hot coals. So I rock up there, and it was only a few days before, when I told people what I was doing over that weekend, that they started to ask me, oh, are you going to do the fire walk? And I said, oh, I don't think that's included in my ticket. So we get there, and it becomes blatantly obvious that the fire walk is included in the ticket. And what was even more funny to me was that I remember there was this point where it's like the penny drops. You're going to be doing a fire walk, and actually it's your decision whether you do it or not. And I remember speaking to the person that I went with and just saying, are you going to do it? What was interesting, their response was, oh, I don't know, I might do, I'll wait and see. Whereas my response, for whatever mad, bizarre reason, was, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. If it's part of the experience, then I'm going to do it. You know, why not? So I just adjust my microphone, sorry about that. Why not? Why not do it? And the thought process that happened afterwards was, you know what? I've been through other things in life that have been really, like, seriously, properly horrible, properly nasty. If I can live through an experience like that, then perhaps I can live through a fire walk. I didn't really pay too much attention. Whereas the person that went with me started thinking about it. And, oh, well, but what if I get burnt? What's going to happen? Well, of course, Tony Robbins, as are many other people now across the world, they are trained in facilitating firewalks. So how do you overcome those critters in your mind so that you can do something like walk on hot coals, so you can do something like decide to start a business, how you can do something like go out there and be brave and get a new relationship, how you can do something like change your diet, change your lifestyle, how you can do something like start to run that first mile, that first kilometre, so that before you know it, you're able to run marathons. How do you do that? So, just wondering, any of you still got a thought? Any of you still got something? Any of you got something that's coming up maybe this week that you are slightly fearful of? You don't need to type or say what it is, but just give me like a thumbs up or something like that so that I've got an idea. Hey, Frances says, morning everyone, finally finding you. Hi, Frances. So here's the thing to do. Look at where you put your focus on. When you find the fear coming up, don't try and negate it. Don't try and kind of wash it over and say, that's it. I'm going to overcome it. This thing's not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. But just notice the fear. Now, sometimes it's a very distinct fear. Notice what's coming up and ask yourself, what's this really about? What are you trying to show me? Because if you're worrying, if you're fearful, there'll be a reason that your body is trying to show you it. The next thing to do is to notice when it's trying to show you the fear and what the concern is. Is that fear because of an experience that you've had in the past? Because here's the false evidence appearing real thing. The thing that you're about to do, you haven't done before. Even if you say, but I'm really fearful of making pancakes because they always go wrong, and last time I made pancakes they went really wrong. Well, the next time you make those pancakes, it's a different environment, it's a different atmosphere, it's a different time. You can't compare what's about to come to something that you've already done. That's one of the reasons that fear starts to grow, starts to build. So the first step is to look at the fear. What is it trying to tell you? What is it trying to show you? What is it trying to protect you from? And then after that, make a decision. Now, this is going to sound really glib, and I do get asked about this all the time. How do you decide? So one of the lovely visibility vibers had put a question in at the weekend and said, it was all well and good deciding, but how do you know if you make the wrong decision? Well, here's the thing. We all have the same number of hours in the day. We all have the same number of days in the week. We all have the same amount of time. And although it might seem that our outside influences, be it family, social, or anything else, dictates what we do, we at any given time can make a decision what we're going to do with that time that we have. And here's where decision or decisiveness comes in, because indecision is our inability to stick in one place or another. Needs to be a firm yes, needs to be a firm no. That's a decision. Not sure, I'm thinking about it, I'm stuck in the middle isn't a decision. And despite what anyone tells you, there's nobody on the planet that if you're in that space mentally, in that mind space, can persuade you to go to one place or the other. It all comes down to you. That's it. You make the decision, you decide. Now, why do some of us stick in that indecision? And don't get me wrong, I might have walked across hot coals, and trust me, there was a lot of it's almost like brain training, a lot of really thinking, not even about walking across the hot coals, but just getting to the end. So getting to the solution. So what's the thing that's going to get you to the solution? So if you're fearful of, say, public speaking, I want you to imagine that you're holding a torch. Thank you for the love hearts and the loves and the thumbs up. Imagine that you're holding a torch. In order to be fearful, that torch, or flashlight as you guys say over in the States, needs to be shining back on you. And this is what we do in our brains. In order to be fearful, in order to not make the decision to do the thing that we want to do, It's like we're metaphorically holding a torch, and instead of shining it out into the world, we're shining it onto ourselves. We're getting our body to pay attention to ourselves. And once the body pays attention to ourselves and what we're thinking and what we're feeling, our brain doesn't know it's happening, it perpetuates it and grows it. But here's the thing about fear. If you're feeling fearful about something, by noticing what's going on for you, maybe where in the body you're feeling fear, it could be that you're feeling this closed throat or this knot in your stomach, very physically around the body, it will be somewhere showing you. By acknowledging that fear, looking at what it could be about and what it's trying to protect you from, you've then got an insight to whatever your concerns are about doing the thing. And if it's about something that you've done in the past, then scratch it off the list. I'm going to come to the end of this description in a second. So if you do have questions on anything that I've just said there, now would be a really great time to type them in the box below. And if you don't want to type them on this public forum, please do go over to the Visibility Vibes Tribe group, which is a closed Facebook group. Anything you type in there will only be seen by the people in that group, not your general family and friends. So if you do want to join, I'll make sure that I pop the link here, or if you've got a friend who's watching this now who can invite you to the group, as soon as I've finished, I'll let you in, and please feel free to share whatever you want to share there on fear. That's a really nice community of people, by the way, very welcoming, will really make you feel at home from the moment you go in. That's why it's got a good vibe. Anyway, so how do we create that fear? What do we do? What happens? We've acknowledged the fear, we've acknowledged why it's trying to protect us. So, you know, hot coals. The person that I went with who wouldn't walk across the hot coals was turning their torch to themselves and focusing on the fact that coals are hot and my skin is not used to walking on hot things and I could get burned. And the more they thought about it, the more they perpetuated that, the more that it grew that fear. But what were they comparing it to? Because they hadn't done it before. What were they comparing it to? So once you know that you are putting the torch, shining the light on yourself, from a metaphorical point of view, it's a case of turning the torch and shining it outwards. So how do you do that when you're making the decision to not be fearful? Well, it could be your own reason. It could be it could be your big why, people call it. It could be your purpose. If you're about to publicly speak, it's likely that you've got a really important message to share. If you're still turning the torch towards you, it's because you're thinking, but what if I make a mistake? And what if I do this? And you're now comparing that fear to something that might have gone wrong in the past. But the truth of the matter is, in life, there is no right or wrong. Morally speaking, there are things that people do that aren't acceptable, but you can't take I would say you can't take a wrong, make a wrong decision. You just take a different path. It's like setting out on a journey and going to the shops and deciding to do a detour. You're not wrong because you decided to turn off to the left and explore what was down that alleyway. You've just decided to make a different decision, and there'll be a reason behind it. So when false evidence appears real, that fear is something that we have been practiced to condition. So here's a tip I'm going to leave you with to springboard. Thank you, Ivona. She says, great analogy. Here's a tip I'm going to leave you to springboard that with. Next time you feel the fear, you notice it, you ask what it's about and what it's trying to protect you from, i.e., my feet might burn. Okay, I don't want to do it, I might burn myself. Look at the reason that you're giving yourself for not doing the thing, and then look at the bigger reason. I referred to this in the Mindset Makeover program. I talk about this as your reasons to excuses, and this is one of the most powerful springboards. When we sit with ourselves, when we get honest with ourselves, what is the reason that we're deciding not to do something? That can very quickly become the reason we decide to do it. So to give a strange, not an everyday piece around walking on hot coals, I was in a room with lots of other people who were going to be doing this thing. However, I could choose to listen to the fear in my head of the thing that hadn't even happened yet, or listen to the person who was telling us how to navigate the hot coals, how to walk across the hot coals. I could either spend my time in mind chatter, making myself even more scared, which is what the person that came with me did, or I could focus on what I needed to do, the task in hand, and actually the step by step by step. I mean, I wasn't going to walk across the hot coals in one foul swoop. I needed to know what mindset to adopt. I needed to understand, after I knew what my outcome was, well, what did I need to do before that, and before that, and before that? So breaking it down into much, much smaller, manageable pieces will help you to get there. So whatever your excuse is, oh, well, I can't do it because I'm going to burn. Well, because I could walk across hot coals and burn myself, then I'm going to do this. So the rationale for me was, this guy's telling us exactly how to do it. So because I don't want to burn, I actually want to listen to him. It was almost like there's something in my brain that says, listen first, panic later, after I've done the walk. And what happened, as I walked down towards the coals with like thousands of other people, after about 12 hours of like hearing how powerful our mind could be and what we could do, I started to notice a few people dragging their heels. And from that moment, even as we were walking down towards where we needed to be, that's when I chose that I'm going to do this. Like, if there's any time to do it, I'm going to do it. And as I walked down there were people that were slowly walking. You could tell they didn't really want to do it. And in my mind, I was just like, okay, with the greatest of respect, get out my way. I'm going for this. Get out my way. I'm going for this. I don't want to hear anyone complaining about it. I don't want to hear anyone whinging about it, because that would affect my mindset. So really being able to surround myself with the people that also wanted to go for it was hugely beneficial, hugely helpful. But I didn't listen to them, whether I thought it was good, bad or indifferent. I just kept going. I just kept going. And guess what? I walked on hot coals. I've got a picture of the hot coals from afterwards. I was so in the zone. I walked across those coals, and it was only the next morning when I woke up and I could see little bits of, tiny bits of, obviously cold coals in the bottom of my feet, that I went, oh my gosh, did I really do that? Did I really walk across hot coals last night? Oh my gosh, I actually did. So France Lee says, makes sense, break it down and learn how not to burn yourself. Actually, if I was coaching France Lee's on that point, if you learn how not to burn yourself, your brain deletes the not. And what you tell your subconscious mind to do is learn how to burn yourself. The thing to focus on is like getting across the hot coals. So it's not about not burning yourself or not being scared. And that's because the torch isn't quite shining on you. It's nearly halfway there. What's the bigger purpose? So France Lee's, a question that you could ask yourself is, if I wasn't going to burn myself, what would I be doing instead? Walking across the hot coals. And that's what my focus was. That's where it was. So Penny said, I'll be experiencing this in April, really excited. Oh my gosh, Penny, it's the most amazing experience. Don't listen to the voice chatter. Don't listen to the people around you. Just go for it. That's all I can say. Ivana says, amazing experience. France Lee says, important to finding the right people to accompany you. Absolutely. There will be people that will go, no, don't do that. Jenny, you're going to burn yourself. No, I want to know this person that did this or did that. So focus on the success. Katie Robinson says, focus on the success. Absolutely right. France Lee says, oh, okay. So this is a really important thing. Think of the thing that you might be doing today, this week, this forthcoming month, and any fear that you've got around it. Start to look at how you can break it down. And let's continue the discussion over in the Visibility Vibes tribe. A nice private space. If you see someone that's going through something, the best thing that you can do is hold the space, listen to them, and make a suitable response. Or sometimes, it happens to me occasionally, I think, actually, I'm just going to watch and see, you know, what other people recommend. So I hope that's been helpful for you. This week, I'm going to be doing various different Facebook Lives throughout Facebook, but the whole theme is actually about saying yes to yourself. So hi to, I've got to go in your face. I think it's Abju, hello, pleased to meet you. Thank you for joining us. So I want you to really, like, decisively, after this video, which is about to end now, you know, feel free to save it and come back to it and click for any more notifications. I want you to really think about the things that you want in your life. I don't want you to edit it. I don't want you to say they're realistic or anything else like that. I don't even want you to apply the SMART goals rule. I want you to think about 2 or 3 things that you really want to go for today, this week. I'd say this month. Give yourself a bit of time, not 3 things in the rest of the day. I'm sure you've got a full enough day as it is. Think about the things that you really want to go for, no matter how big or small, how crazy they sound. I've got what I call my big, hairy, scary goals too. And then let's go for it, and let's encourage each other in the Visibility Vibes Tribe community, or indeed on this page. So Francie says, thank you very much, very useful. Ivona says, I'll drop your comment over in the Visibility Vibes group. Excellent. Penny says, thank you so much for showing up, Penny. I'm a bit jealous that you're getting to do the firewalk again. I've walked on broken glass as well, but that's a story for another time. Katie says, I like that, Jenny, saying yes to yourself. Absolutely. We have become, as a nation, so accustomed of saying no, so accustomed of saying, you know, that we can't do something, or so accustomed of letting other people decide. You know, look at the situation in America. Some people love it, some people don't. The people that don't love it are saying, that's it, it's all over now. He doesn't have the power over you. You have the power. It's all in your mind, all in what you want to achieve. So Penny says, am I on the Visibility Vibe? Penny, I'm going to pop a link down in the comment below. And if you're not already in there, just click to join, and I'll be ready and waiting with open arms to join the people like the lovely France Lees, Ivona, Alan, Ali, and Ian, who popped on later on. So Fransley says, my God, you're full of secrets. I'm not very good at keeping secrets about myself because I tell you all, but I think it's really useful. And as a, you know, as a coach, as a mentor, as somebody that really wants people to live their most successful life and do the stuff that they really want to do without boundaries, I think it's only helpful that I share everything, the good, the bad and the ugly. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Have a most beautiful Monday. See you over in the Visibility Vibes Tribe group. And for those of you that have maybe got a business and looking to stand out more, join me tonight at 7 p.m. UK time for Visibility Made Easy, where there'll be more of how you can say yes to being out there, being visible, whether you're feeling scared, whether you're feeling overwhelmed or anything else. Thank you so much for the love hearts. France Lees wants a story of walking on broken glass. It'll come, France Lees, it'll come very soon. Take care and bye for now.